everybody. Welcome to Busy Living Sober. Busy Living Sober. Busy Living Sober. It's Elizabeth Chance. If you're here for the first time, welcome. And if you're back, hey, what's up? So happy to see you this Wednesday, June 27th, 2024. Wow, is time flying. I have so many topics today. I'm going to come up with a title when it's done. Does that make sense? It's episode 456. So I'm going to come up with a title, but there's so many things I want to talk about. And one of them being, I want to talk about relapse. I want to talk about spirituality. I want to talk about what it's like to be a mom in recovery. Um, and it's been interesting. I don't know. I've been hearing from so many people that are relapsing recently, and it is heartbreaking. It is really heartbreaking because it doesn't seem like, and I've noticed this actually since getting sober a long time ago, that whenever anybody relapses, they come in and they're like, oh my gosh, I just went and I relapsed and I feel so great. It was awesome. I went out and I drank with my friends and it was so great. And I woke up the next day and I felt bright eyed and bushy tailed. It was so wonderful. I went out and it feels so good. It's the exact opposite of that, you guys. The exact opposite. And things that you said you never were going to do, you do. That's why I still say I haven't done this yet, or that yet, or this yet, because somebody pointed that out to me a long time ago. In my first year of being sober, I remember that when I heard somebody relapse, I would want to stay away from that person. It was like I was so judgmental. It was just, I didn't want to get it. I didn't want to go back and go through that pain that I had gone through to get me to the place where I had to ask for help, where I finally said, I have to give up. When I watched people that relapsed, it was like, stay away. Oh my gosh, they've got something. I don't want to catch it. It was kind of like the way people treat people with COVID. It's kind of the same thing. It was like, oh my gosh, stay away, stay away. And again, as time went on, I realized that I it's part of this whole thing. It's the relapse element. It hasn't happened to me yet. Knock on wood. I'm going to knock on my wooden table as I say that. But as you guys all know, I'm really diligent about my recovery and being spiritually fit and making sure I help other people. And it's been of recent days, I've just been watching these people that have had time and just they're crashing and burning. And I feel now I don't want to run away from them like I did before. Now I just want to go in and embrace them and say, it's okay. It's okay. The important thing is that you're back. And that is the important thing. It's not what happened. It's that you're back and that you're trying again and that you're trying again. I listened last night. JF and I sat around and we watched a Sean Ryan episode with Bobby Kennedy, who's running for president. And that day he celebrated 40 years of continuous sobriety. And, he obviously had some trauma in his life. His uncle was killed. His father was killed. He had a lot of stuff go down the pike, and being one of 11, I can't even imagine what that was like. And he said that when he was growing up, he had a lot of spirituality. They went to church all the time. They said the rosary before dinner, after dinner. They were like really devout Catholics. And and it was important to their family that because they were, Irish through and through, and they knew that alcohol was a problem in their family and had been for years. So I think he was taught not to drink because you could become an alcoholic. And that didn't matter. He went and he picked up a drug instead of alcohol in the beginning. And he, started drinking and doing drugs for a long time. And it wasn't until he was arrested and that he, got clean. And that was his bottom. And he finally, went to a 12-step meeting. And I think he continues to go to 12-step meetings. I don't know that for sure. He's not my friend. I haven't run into him in a meeting. Even if I did, I couldn't tell you. But um, I know this is that he does go to 12-step. And the most important thing for him that he talked about in this interview was that he had to have a spiritual awakening. And it wasn't a God awakening, it was a spiritual awakening. Now, for me, I've told you guys this all the time, I think many times, that when I went into the rooms of, I went to a 12-step meeting for the first time and I saw the word God, it kind of was, it felt good because I had been going to church my whole life. So it was not a thing that I wanted to go, stay away from me. I don't want to go have any God. I know I needed God. I needed God. And so I wasn't, that didn't make me go and run out of the meeting going, oh my gosh, I can't do this again. It actually made me feel comfortable because I was like, oh my gosh, this is home for me. They mentioned God. So that first step, admitting that I was powerless, and I, it was, I really had to think about what that word powerless meant. And it meant, obviously no power. And I could go back to when alcohol had a hold on me. It had a true hold on me. Do you guys relate to that? Like it was like you had one and you couldn't stop. It wasn't that you had no power. It was like, you know what? It's so big. It's pulls me in so much. That's what alcohol does. And it is a spirit. I've said that many times. It gives us this false sense that we're okay. It's like, all right, I'm going to pour this into me and I'm going to be okay. But as I've also mentioned many times, it is very fleeting, that sense that you're okay. That sense that you're like, "Oh my gosh, I just ingested this. I feel okay." And it's like seconds how long you feel good. And then you're chasing that feeling of feeling good. And then you wake up and go, "Why did I do that? How did I get here again?" Bobby Kennedy talked about, and I've talked about many times, the spiritual part is so important. Finding that thing that's bigger than you, that's not human, that I call God, but whatever you want to call it, that people say the outdoors does it, yoga does it, whatever it is. For me, it's important that it's God, but whatever you believe, you have to believe in something bigger than you. It's humility. It's humbling. It's humbling to get on your knees and say, please help me. Please help me. I'm in this place of like, I can't stop. I want to stop, but I can't. How can I? How can I stop? And for some people, it's literally a second at a time. You get past 1 second, you get past another second, you get to 60 seconds, and it's a minute. You haven't had a drink or picked up a drug for a minute. Okay, that's huge. And then another minute, and then another minute, and we get to an hour. And then hours add up to a day, and days add up to a year, and so on and so on and so on. But it's really important these days because I feel like I don't know. There's darkness in the world, that's for sure. Um, my prayer has gotten bigger than it ever has before. Going and getting and having a relationship with God is like at the forefront because I know that I can't do this life alone, right? We're all humans. We're all humans. And having this relationship and doing something every day that brings me closer to God is what I like to do. It's what I need to do for me, Elizabeth. I need to do this for me. If it works for you, great. I would be psyched if it did. For me, I downloaded the Halo app. I paid $60, maybe $70. I don't even know how much it was, maybe $70 for the year. And every morning I listen to Halo, and there's so many things on there that I relate to. And there's different apps out there for whatever religion you are and whatever you want, whatever you relate to. But it's taking the time to figure out, where are you getting your spirituality? Where is that coming from? What does that look like to you? Not only in your head, but in your heart. I mean, they say that from our heads to our hearts is so far, right? It doesn't look that far if you're watching me on YouTube. Um, holding my heart and I'm touching my head if you're just listening to me. And go do that for yourself. Touch your head and touch your heart. Okay, it's not very far, but it is. It's like getting them on the same wavelength. It's like I've got to be feeling this in my heart, not only in my head. Like in my heart, I want to be sober. In my heart, I want to have love. In my heart, I want to have compassion. In my heart, I want to feel fellowship. I want to feel peace. I want to feel serenity. And I get that from God. Yesterday I went, I'm wearing workout clothes. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that. If you're listening, you don't see me. So I'm just going to tell you, I'm wearing my workout clothes. I decided that I needed to go back to the gym and, build up some muscle because I'm getting older and I don't want to, they say that you need to have muscle when you get older. And so I do. I want to have muscle. And I'm going back. And now, of course, I've tweaked my back and this hurts and that hurts. And you go to the gym and everything starts to hurt. At least it does for me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this hurts, that hurts. And it's uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable when you're in pain. Like my back's a little tweaked. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going to keep going to the gym. But I did go see a chiropractor. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to him, and he's going through his own personal things, with some infertility with his wife, and it's really sad. And I feel so happy that he brought it up to me and felt like he could talk to me. And I said to him, "Gosh, but it's so lucky when you have a relationship with God. When you pray, it makes life so much easier." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, you are so right." He's like, he was raised Catholic, and he said, "I just keep praying, and I pray all day long, and I pray all day long, and it gives me peace." And I said, "Me too." And he said, "You know what the craziest thing is?" And I said, "What?" And he goes, "My wife's Jewish and she never really prayed before. But now she just sat down and she's like, 'What do you want? Can we pray? Will you show me? How do I pray? Will you show me how to pray?" And he was like, "This is so cool. I get to talk about this with my wife. I get to be able to talk to her about what it's like to pray and how that feels for me." He's like, "That was awesome. It was the best conversation because I did get to be with her in tandem." And I was like, "That is so awesome. That is so awesome." And if you aren't alone, you aren't alone. As much as you want to say, sometimes I'm by myself and I get lonely. I mean, haven't you been lonely when you've been in a party or in a house full of a million people and you still feel lonely? But if you have that sense that something's bigger than you, something you can't touch, something you don't always feel, but you just believe in, it gives you peace. At least it does for me. In my opinion, it gives me peace. And it obviously does to this person I was with yesterday. It gives us peace. It's so interesting because, when this country was founded, there was so much more of God in our lives. It's printed on our money. It was talked about in school, the Ten Commandments, all those things. And today it's like they keep just pushing it more and more to the wayside. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can believe what you want to believe. It's like, and I just can't, that doesn't sit well with me. It just doesn't. I feel like I need to be honest and truthful with my voice. I pray that I don't get in trouble for it from the government. I pray, 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 pray. But I feel like I think we all need to be honest and speak our truths. It's become so divisive. I get it, but it's when you have different ideologies that are literally black and white, it's hard to come together right now. It's hard when you're seeing things in front of you that 2 plus 2 equals 4. And they're saying, no, it doesn't. It's 2 plus 5 equals 4. And you're like, no, it doesn't. And I just use that as an analogy, but it's just so, so different and so, so divisive. And where we are living today is so divisive. And who's telling us the truth? I don't know. I don't know. My husband and I talked about that last night. We were like, we just see, things chipping away at small things. And I'm reading a book about Cuba right now. And pre Castro, things started to happen that were little things. And the people of Cuba noticed the little things, but the little things added up and became big things. And I feel like where we are, all these little things are going on. It was for first, George Floyd and, Black Lives Matter and then LGBTQ and whatever other letters they've added to it. And now what's going on with Hamas and the Jews. It's like all these little things are adding up, you guys. And if we don't wake up, what are we going to be looking at? But there's so much noise. So much noise. I understand why people are relapsing today. There's so little sense of being in control. I don't know when we really are in control, let's be honest. I really don't think any of us have any idea of what control we have over. I think we have control over whether we put a drink in our mouth and whether we don't. But it takes a lot of power. And for me, it wasn't me. It was God. I'd gotten on my knees. I'm coming close to my anniversary, which is in August. And I still remember falling to my knees on that beach and going, God, please help me. That was the first time, you guys, I'd ever asked for help from God. It was the first time I literally had gotten on my knees and was surrendering, was like, please help me. Please. I had to get to that place of true humility where you're just like, I can't do anything else. Please help me. Please, please help me. And when that happened on August 14th, 2006, I haven't wanted to drink, which is beyond a blessing. As we all know, I don't do everything perfectly by any stretch of the imagination. I just try each day. And if I don't pick up a drink, I have a better chance of making better decisions, right? So if I pick up a drink, I'm not making any good decisions. I'm making really bad ones that I regret, ones that I wish that I had a time machine to go back and change, which I don't. And in time, I get to learn how to accept those choices that I made. But that doesn't happen all the time, right? It does, you can't forget what you did yesterday in a nanosecond unless you're using something. And if you do use something and all of those thoughts of yesterday slip away, you wake up the next day and they're still there because your memory's still there the next morning. When you're in a blackout, you don't remember anything. But yesterday's gone and tomorrow's not here yet. How do I live in the hours that I'm awake and not pick up a drink or a drug and realize, what do I have power over? What do I have power over? Think about it. Write it down. What do you really, truly have power over? If you want to share your list with me, I'd love it. Send it to me, Elizabeth@elizabethchance.com. But this disease will take you out. If you pick up a drink and you haven't done it yet. So I used to say, I haven't had to go to jail. And my sponsor or my friend would look at me and say, yet, or somebody in a meeting would say, you haven't gone there yet. But who says you're not going to go there in the future if you pick up a drink? I'm like, wow, you're exactly right. Literally, think about that. If you go and you mess with alcohol, then you have no choices of what's going on, whether good or bad. You are at the mercy of this drink, which is a spirit, and it takes over, and you can't make a sound decision. Let's be honest. If a dog ran in front of your car, you couldn't really slow down. You couldn't slow down if you had been drinking and driving a car, and a person ran across the street. Your just reflexes don't work like they do when you're sober. So you're going to tell me that if I pick up a drink, all decisions are off. All bets are off. I have no idea what's going to happen. So when you pick up that spirit and you know that it's going to change you, you have to play the tape. That's the thing that they used to talk about all the time, is playing the tape. I've got to play the tape. Like, I have that drink. Let's just see. We're going to do this really quick. I'm just going to talk to you guys as if you're the mirror in front of me. So if I'm going to pick up this drink, the first one's going to go down maybe. I know that I can feel that red that would come up. I can feel it right this second. It's been almost 18 years, but I can still remember that feeling when the alcohol touched my lips, my tongue, went down my throat, and warm came up. It felt kind of uncomfortable in a little bit, because it doesn't taste that good, let's be honest. And I then was like, got a sense of, and then disappears. And then you chase that the rest of the time. But guess what? In the interim, I could get behind my car, get arrested for that. I can put my kids in some sort of bad danger. I can put my husband in some sort of danger. I can do like so many things could happen if I put this in my body. Am I willing to risk that? It's not like a blackjack table where you can walk away. Like once it's in your body, you can't get it out. It's there. Even if you throw up, you still have the sense of the feelings of like, oh my gosh, I have alcohol in my system. I can't make choices like I could before. How am I going to do this? Okay, am I going to, I can't do this. I can't pick up the drink. Okay, what am I going to do? I feel uncomfortable. I might go on a walk. I might put on some dumb TV. I might read a book. But in the beginning, I was way too shaky. It took me so long. Something else that Bobby Kennedy said in this interview was that, his brain was like crazy. It was like a crazy brain. He just couldn't comment. It was like like everything's it's like pistons going off. Ding, 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 ding. I can tell you, when I was young, I had the same thing. I couldn't calm down. I couldn't get relaxed. Now, were people diagnosing girls especially that could sit that I could sit there, but I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't focus. I had enough going on in my family life and then my brain, it was like, forget about it. Well, the only thing that calmed it was alcohol. There was no Adderall or any other substances that I could put in my body to deal with the fact that I had ADD, ADHD, I think, and calm my brain. It was only the alcohol that could calm it. And now here I am at 55, right? Sober almost 18 years. And I can tell you that my ADD, I can read a book now, I can get calm, but it's taken so much time to realize what are my tools in my pretty hot pink, blinged out personal toolbox that I have. What is in there that I use? Prayer, meditation, journaling, talking to friends and talking to my husband. It's kind of crazy. I want to bring this up because I saw that the interview about that interview from the kicker from Kansas City Buckus. And if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, I'm sorry. And he gave an interview. He gave the commencement speech at that Catholic university, and he talked about being his how he command he just loves his wife and that his wife stays home and raises their kids. And he got a lot of backlash because women are like, "Wait a minute, what are you telling us that it's okay to sit at home and we should be sitting at home taking care of kids?" Well, I don't know if any moms are listening right now, but I can tell you this: raising kids is probably one of the hardest things that I ever did. Okay. It was very demanding. And especially as babies, they don't just start crying and say, "Oh, guess what's wrong with me? I need you to do this." You have no idea what's wrong with them. And you have to sit here and play this game. Like, are they hungry? Do they have a dirty diaper? What's going on? What is going on? And, being a parent and being a mom is the best thing I've ever done in my life. I can't put money on it, but I can tell you this, it's the best thing I've ever done. Even though my kids, some talk to me, some don't talk to me, and whatever relationship I have with them is what I have with them, and it doesn't even really matter at this point. They're doing them. I raised them. They flew away. They're doing their own lives. They're in their 20s. They're going to do them. I love all three of them more than life could ever tell you. I do. I love them so much. But I love them so much that I have to be like, "Go fly away." And it felt uncomfortable for a really long time when they flew away. Really, really uncomfortable. And friendships change as you get older because you're not going and doing the things you did before. You're not going to the playground and meeting your friends at school. You're not going on a walk with friends during the day. Everybody's doing other things now, and we're all scattered. And I've lived in so many different places since I was living in the place where I raised my kids and making friends as a 55-year-old. I can tell you, for me at least, it's been hard. It's definitely hard. And I don't drink, which makes it even harder, right? Because a lot of people get together and have cocktails, and I don't do that. So making friends is hard. And when you have the beliefs that I have, and when you speak your mind, and it's also not always the best thing. People don't always love that. And I can own that. That's my stuff. That is my stuff. I own all of it. I own the fact that I have big opinions, that I have big mouth, and that I have I'm strong and I believe so much stuff. And the friends that I do have, I cherish so much. But you know what I've realized lately? You're not going to believe this. I've realized that all through these hard times that I've told you guys about with my husband and when I'm having hard times, he's my best friend. He is my best friend. He's always here. He's always there, listening, lending his ear, being there for me in sickness and in health and everything. No matter what, he's there. He's there. And if you're out there and you have a husband, you get it. You're like, I know who he is, and he does this and he does that. We can all go on and on about the negative, but what about looking at the positive? Like, oh my gosh, I'm so blessed that I have this person that no matter what has my back. We forget about that. At least I forgot about that. This is all my opinion, by the way. My opinion only. You know, I just realized it this morning. I went and I was listening to these two things on Halo this morning, and one of them talked about Jesus and how he was about to. He knew that he was going to that they were going to persecute him, they were going to put him on the cross, and that he was going to die, but he knew he was going to come back again. And he had these 12 disciples, which I call his like best friends, his posse, right? He had these 12 best friends. How blessed was he? I was like, oh my gosh, how did Jesus have 12 best friends that he totally loved him and were like there for him and listened to every word? Like, how amazing is that? How amazing. And a mom, the Blessed Mother, who was like, she'd be looking for him and be like, why are you looking for me? And she's like, because I love you. And we can all relate to that, right? We can all relate to the fact that we might bug our kids because we're like, where are you? We want to know where you are. And they're like, well, stop following us. We're like, no, we want to know because for so long, that's all we cared about was where you were and what you were doing. And then you grow up and they run away. But, I think, gosh, Jesus was so lucky. He had 12 legit friends that thought the world of him. Amazing, amazing. Amazing. I don't have that right now. That's okay. I don't have 12 friends that I can sit around a table with and say, and break bread and talk about these things. It just hasn't happened yet. I'm going to say yet. That's my big operative word today. I think is yet. You know, it's living life one day at a time. It's embracing where you are. It's embracing who you are, owning who you are, figuring out what you want to put in your hot pink. Maybe it's not hot pink. Maybe it's not blinged out, but what is in your toolbox? Besides a drink or a drug? What are you using to help you get one more day living on this earth alive? The huge gift of being alive. What are you doing? How are you showing gratitude? How are you feeling grace? How are you feeling joy? How are you doing it? I'm going to end with this. A very dear friend who's been working really hard. She's got a new job and she's working really, really hard. And she wants something material. So she's like, I really want this, but I can't, I don't know. And da, da, da. And I'm like, why don't you buy it for yourself? You've been working so hard. Give yourself that gift. Every month that I got when I was getting sober in the first year, every month I'd buy myself a little something. I didn't have a lot of money. I'd go to like Marshall's, TJ Maxx, Nordstrom's rack, go on the clearance rack, something nominal, something little, but it would be something that was a gift to me that said, gosh, Elizabeth, you did it. You got another month. And I'd celebrate myself. That doesn't make you a narcissist. It's giving yourself the gift of saying, guess what? I got it. I got another day. I got another month. I got another month. I'm going to buy myself something special, even if it's a lipstick, something small to show yourself that you are worth it. No one else can do that for you. Only you can. You can't feel guilty about it. You've got to be proud of yourself. This is hard. It's not easy, but you can do it 1 second at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time. And just do it that time. It's like one day at a time. I couldn't think too far into the future because it wasn't here yet. And I couldn't think behind me because I couldn't change that. I don't have a time machine. And in time, You learn to forgive yourself and you learn to forgive others. But today, all you need to do is not drink one day at a time, not drug one day at a time, 1 minute. As I said, seconds turn into minutes, minutes turn into hours, hours turn into days, and days turn into years. So take the time. Take the time to figure out what it is in your toolbox that's going to help you get one more day. Okay, you guys, that's enough for me. I hope everybody has a fabulous Wednesday. Again, now I got to tell you a couple little things. I got a Patreon, which is kind of exciting. So go to my Patreon, which is www.patreon.com/busy living sober. You will find the link in my description. I would love it if you sign up for my Patreon. It would mean so much to me. As you guys know, all this stuff costs money, and it would be amazing if you supported me that way. You can also get if you go to my website, elizabethchance.com or busylivingsober.com, you'll get prompted right there to sign up for my newsletter, which will go right into your inbox. And subscribe to my channel. And if you like today's podcast, please share it with your friends. And just know that you are not alone. And you just have to do this 1 second at a time. Just 1 second at a time. You're not alone. I'm sending big hugs, big love to you all. And until next time, everybody, keep getting busy, living. Bye, everybody. Take care. Thanks for following me. I really appreciate it. Sending lots of hugs, lots of love, and email me at Elizabeth, ELIZABETH at elizabethchance.com. And until then, take care. Love you guys. Bye.